so around my neck. Hiya, good afternoon, Joe here at woollycottage.com. How are we all? No, no, Scotty, don't start. Don't move for that dog today, she's driving me potty. She drives me potty every week, I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so yeah, I'll just hang around for a little bit before I get on with the rest of the live chat. See if anyone turns up. I just put a post over on Instagram just to remind folk, but I know everybody's really busy trying to get overtime in this month. Here comes number one now. Number one, number two. So yesterday I uploaded, I thought it would be different today and do my live chat. I'll hang around for a little while. If nobody turns up, then I'll just get over what I need to do. But yeah, yesterday I got my blending board out and I blended up day 4 and day 5's wool advents. Day 4 was hand-dyed tussah silk. Really, really lovely. Look at that. I love how it comes out mottled. But I'll show you how to dye tussah silks and things like that next year. So I had a merino and mulberry silk blend with a bit of Angelina in there, and I decided, oh, since I missed out on day 4's video, I might as well put them both together, and I'm glad I did, because honestly I got the most delightful, hiya Mary love, I got the most gorgeous, look how shiny that is, most beautiful Rolags, and I spun it on my Turkish spindle yesterday. This one here, look at, I've got glitter in mine. You got glitter in mine? Yeah. I might make some of these for the website. I'll see if I've got much more left because I bought it in for Christmas presents. So yeah, honestly, there was like 35 grams of Rolags that I did. I spun up 2 of these and roughly about 30 grams. And it took me about 3 hours just to spin up those 2 small Rolags and ply it. I was like, oh my God, this takes forever. I'm going to be spinning them up on my little spinning wheel later on, but it turned out beautiful. Got this gorgeous little mini skein of, is probably the equivalent of about 50% tussah silk and about 15% of it will be mulberry silk. And it's got Angelina in it and the rest is merino. So I mean, that's how silky it is, and it feels silky. You just can't see, I can't get over the shine of what it looks like, but it is so pretty. So today's bat that I'm going to open up, which, have you opened up yours yet, Mary? Is it the 6th there yet? Are you allowed to open it? And have you opened up your first Sundays? Oh, would you have got it yet? I think you would. Yes, you would have done. You would have got your 4 Sundays by now, wouldn't you? Yeah. So please don't tell me that you've opened them all like a naughty girl, because there is one lady who was very proud of herself that she opened it up 24 hours after she received it, like your little minx. So I'm just going to open up day 6. So Mary, if you haven't opened up day 6 yet, Mary, you're going to have to go and watch this later after you've opened it. Scardy, will you please just stop and back off? Dog is so demanding, so demanding. So there's day 6. Now yesterday's one, Hilly messaged me to say, oh Joe, I don't know how to work these. There was clasps in day 6. I don't have all the gifts in these parcels like you guys have, because obviously I only bought a limited supply. I do have one of the brooches, but there was like little clasps with croc clips on the back of them, and what you do is you pin both sides onto your cardigan or your shawl on the edges, and there's a little clasp hook that hooks in to the other side, so you create a clasp and you can just unbuckle. It looks like an old-fashioned buckle, and you undo the buckle bit and leave your clasps in place so you can just fasten it back up. The other one, now I do have it, but I'm really bad. I haven't been looking for it. I haven't looked for it. Phil's off to work in a bit. No, I've been a good girl. I've opened my first Sunday, but I'll open up day 6 after me. Okay, no problem. I don't want to ruin it for you. You just go and open it now if you've got it near you, and then you know what it is. But the other clasp, there was 2 different types of clasps. There was the Celtic ones, or vintage looking, and there was a Viking style clasps, and they're like a half moon, and they go nearly all the way around in a full circle, but they've got opening at the bottom and there's a bar that comes through. And what you're supposed to do with it is the little bar leave it so it's sitting at the 10 o'clock, the midnight position on the top of the circle, okay? So it sits down like that. Hold on a minute. Sits down like that in the circle. I haven't got anything that's a circle. Yes, I have got sellotape. So just imagine, right, so there's a gap down the bottom here, and you've got this prong that comes through. You want to feed the prong through your garment that you want to heal and put in place, okay? So that it's sitting perpendicular to the gap in the bottom of the brooch. And then once you've got it in there, you lift up the pin a little bit and then turn it around that way so it sits across the brooch. I'll find it. It's in one of those boxes. I've got boxes where I have loads of bits and pieces for when I do fluff rescues. And it's in one of those so it can go in a fluff rescue if there's ever one ordered. Anyway, so today, it's a big one, isn't it? It's a big one. So in my Christmas advents were a mix of, this year, I chop and change it from year to year. Especially because I get a lot of customers that come back and buy them year after year that I've been doing them. So I always try and mix it up from year to year. So this year was 12 mini art bats and 12 braids. So it could have been, and I'll tell you now, it was 4 hand-dyed fibres and 8 hand-dyed wool braids or wool rovings. So this is what we've got today. It's llyen, if you do it in Welsh, llyen. And it's mint, blue and green. So it's a nice chunky wool. It's a little bit coarser micron count than a Shetland, but it spins up very much like a Shetland. So, because I've got some tussah silk left, and it's got a micron count, I think, of roughly about 32 to 34. So it's not the softest, but it is soft against the skin. You could quite easily get away with a woolly hat with it because it's going to be really quite warm. So I'll take off my mini bats. It's pretty, isn't it? So you've got these blues and aqua green in there, and sea breeze and apple in that. Look at the length. It's quite a lot for 25 grams. So what I thought we'd do today, because I've got tussah silk left, and this might be a good hint for you as well in your advents, because obviously tussah silk's the only hand-dyed fibre that you've had so far. I'm not telling you what else is in there because I've got the list and you're not having it. I'm gonna blend it with what I've got left over from doing these blends that I did yesterday for day 4 and 5. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna blend this up today because it's got the blues in there, and I think it'll look really, really pretty, and it'll bring down the micron count on this a little bit. It'll make it a lot more softer to work with. So I'm gonna split this off. And I am gonna spin all these up eventually. I've got to warp up my blinking loom. That's my plans for next week, is get my warp finished off and start warping up my loom, because everything starts to slow down for me a little bit this week. Yeah, so I'm gonna just take myself a good wedge of this off, and then I'm going to split it in half. I'll turn you down so you can see what I'm up to. Move my coffee out of the way, because there's nothing worse than fluffing your coffee. It's bad enough having fluff up your nose, or anything else. There you go. So you can see what I'm doing. So, as usual, I don't put my soft silky fibres on first, because I find that the static in the needles, they end up sticking. So I'm quite happy, and I just ever so gently pull down my fibres, down my blending board, so it creates like a skin, so that I can stick the silky fibres or the plant-based fibres in place, or if I was using Angelina, which I'm not going to add any Angelina. There we go. So the last of your parcel went out the other week there as well. So, yeah, Mary, your order, I've put them both in your orders. I'm sure I put both of your orders in one big parcel, so it's all on its way. It left on Monday, so it'll be in our customs by now anyway. So yeah, you've got that to look forward to. There we go. Should end up with slightly mermaidy colours when this has been blended. Where's that silk? There it is. So I'm going to start off with this bluey version of the silk. I'm just going to loosen it off a little bit so it'll come out nicely. Oh. So what have you been up to, Mary? Have you got anything planned? Or have you been working? I'm not quite sure who else is here. There's somebody else watching. There's always one or two that never really say anything and it's like, oh, do talk. Surprised Elizabeth's not here yet. So just go all the way over. I love working with tussah silk. I prefer it over the mulberry silk. And then I'm going to get my brush in a second and bring that over here. And I'm going to layer it again. What time is it there, Mary? Are you in silly o'clock in the morning, sat there with your first cup of coffee? It's lunchtime here at the moment. I've just been dyeing some silk to make some felted shawls for Christmas. Oh, that sounds nice. What Nuno felting? Oh, I've got fluff in my mouth already. I'm always on the lookout for silk scarves in our charity shops, but you never find any. Nobody wears silk scarves anymore. Right, I think I'll just add a little bit more. I don't want the silk to overpower the actual fibre that I'm working with. I have to lift up my cardigan sleeve. 7:40 a.m. you're having your breakfast. Cool. Yeah, I've just fed Phil, so it's lunchtime here. That's not so bad waking up to me on a Wednesday morning. It's not Phil's idea of fun, that's for sure. I'm going to do another layer of my silk and do really what I did yesterday. A little bit more. I'm going to end up with loads of these Rolags at this rate, and I'm going to use a bit more of this apple green just to finish it off, and then I'll roll them up, and I think I'll make up another batch as well. You'd be surprised how much wool you get from 25 grams, honestly. How much fibre is in there, it's amazing how much. And go a far way, that's for sure. I'm already thinking about next Easter's Easter's Advents. I've only just got these out of the way, and I was thinking about it the other day for the colour thing. So I'm trying to make it so it runs with next year's Christmas Advent, and I might sort of stick with the same sort of theme. Right, so there we go. That is my wool blended, so I'm just going to push this back a bit and do myself a couple of Rolags. See if I can get 3 off of this. But already I can feel the difference with adding in that silk. Dyeing eco silk scarves too. Eco silk. I don't think I've ever heard of eco silk. Right, just going to pull that down a little bit, try and help grip the fibres inside. So I just want the sensation of feeling like the wool's being dragged down the tines of my blending board. And then I know that I'm actually drafting the fibres together. Right, I think that might be enough for this first one. And it's brought this lovely sheen in. Just ever so gentle, just enough just to wrap my hand around without squeezing the wool. You can tell it's got that little end, that dull. That's where you print the leaves on silk. Oh right, I've never tried any of that. And that's the sheen that it's brought into it, and it does feel a little bit softer. So I'm just going to pull out this dowel and the next one. And it's changed the whole profile of this. It looks very seasidey, coastal sort of blues and the hint of green in there. That already. It's brought that sheen up from that to that, just with that dash of tussah silk in it. Just brings your wool up a little bit. So I'll make a couple of more of those. Cup's going to get fluff in it. Right, drag that down so I can hear it in the teeth. There we go, soften that out and draft it, because that's really what you do, is you're drafting your fibres in. There we go, that will do for the next one. Try and get 3 out of each of them. Yeah, it has got a nice sheen to it, hasn't it? As I say, I mean, you probably know yourself, that mulberry silk can be really, really slippery to work with. I do prefer to work with tussah silk. I like peduncle silk as well. Hiya, Bridie love. I got your message, but I've not been able to read it. The peduncle silk, I'm liking it a lot to the tussah silk, because it's got that matte satin look to it, and you can actually grip onto it if you want to spin with it. There you go. So by blending the llyen day 6 advent with some of the hand-dyed tussah silk from day 4, which we'll do this one in a minute, it's amazing how much it changes its contrast. All right. Not a lot of fibre left on the top bit of here. So when I get to the top, because it's all this fluffy bit up the top here, I like to just unpeg it from the top and then run it down the tines while twisting my dowelings or my giant knit needles to help get rid of that scruffy looking fluffy bit at the top, because it can make or break your rolag in the sense of its look and appearance, because the last one is always scruffy looking. There we go, that'll do. But yeah, that's brought the softness down. That should be a joy to spin with that. You're loving the colours. Oh, thank you very much, Sage and Stones. Yeah, the Christmas Advents. I do, this one, this year was Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat. Last year's colours were Norwegian and Scandinavian theme that I had going on. So I got loads of pictures and colour inspirations for different things in Norway and Scandinavia. Gemstone, well, very much like my Navajo turquoise. Yeah, it's got the same sort of colour properties in that. It's got greens. I've got loads of it. Yeah, the turquoise. It's got that look about it, hasn't it? The opals with the shell, the sort of the sheen from the silk in there is lovely. I mean, I've got this silk, which is Erie silk, and this is very, very slippery to work with as well, just like a mulberry silk. It's a really gorgeous, luxurious, ever so fine fibre, and it's got, that's its natural colour. It's like a buttermilk sort of colour. It's really, really lovely, but it's very expensive. I think for 50 grams of that, it's about 7-8 quid of that, but a little bit goes a long way. A little bit of that goes a long way. So I'm going to do this again. I've got some more silk left over, and I'm going to do the same again. So I've got the apple turquoise going into this apple green and aqua. I wish I could turn these around a little bit more so you can actually see a better angle. Do you know, Joe, you've just made that worse, love. You just made it worse. Yeah, I think doing little bits like this with there's nothing stopping you from having a little play around with your rovings at your Christmas Advents, whoever you get them from. And just mix them up a little bit and give them another dimension. And you might actually find that they go with a lot more of your mini bats than you first thought, because of the colour mixes in them. Next year, I think I'm going to go with solids and semi-solid colours in my Easter and Christmas bats for next year. So that you've got a bit more leeway. Instead of mixing lots of colours, it'll be like mixed up versions of the same colour that's in there in the Easter and Christmas Advents for next year. I might even go with gemstones and precious stones. So I know I plan things a year in advance, to be fair, just so it's in my mind for what's coming next, and I can start looking up the pictures and getting inspiration for stuff, and then start routing out suppliers for the gifts to go in and what type of things I've got to put in with them. So a Christmas Advent for me and an Easter bumper pack is definitely a work in progress that I come across and just feel inspired sort of early on in the process, and it's a year-long thing for me. I think I'm going to add some of this purple in there. It's Dharma Diesel Purple Pop, and it splits. So it always comes out with like this ultraviolet colour, but with the neon pink in the background. And just a little bit more there. And then some of this blue. Honestly, it surprises me every time how far I can get 25 grams of wool to go. Well, this is going to have mermaidy undertones. Right, and brush that down. Oh yes, completely different look by having that purple in there. Colours of fluorite. Yes, yeah, it is. And exactly which one you're on about. I think I've done fluorite inspired bats before. Every so often I do have a look through the gemstone pictures on Google and use their inspiration in making my art bats, and they'll end up with the exact same name as well. a little bit down here, and a little bit down here. Oh, this is going to be so pretty. I don't want to use up too much of that purple because I've still got a bit of wool left, probably enough to make another 1, maybe 2 bats in a minute. But I'm sticking this last piece of wool on, and that, for me, I just find that helps keep when you're spinning the little roll lag, having the wool on the first layer and then having the wool on the very last layer with the silks in between. For me, I feel, Mr. Man, hello. I feel that it helps grip the silk in there when I'm spinning with it. Especially with the llyen or llyen. You love it, the mermaid colours. This, look at the crimp on that. It's got a really good crimp, so it does actually help hold on to the silkier fibres when I'm spinning with it. And the tussah silk isn't a very slick fibre. I mean, it's got a slickness, more of a satin to me. It's got a satin sort of feel to it, but it's not slick and slippery, such as the mulberry silk. And it has got, it's not so much a crimp, but it does look like there's a bit of a texture in with the fine fibres. It looks like it's got some structure, so I find it easier to spin with that than I do spinning with a mulberry silk. With a mulberry silk, I find that when I'm spinning the mulberry silk up, it comes out in sort of long lengths and clumps. But in the grand scheme of things, I mean, it doesn't stop you from working with it, spinning with it, but you just need to make sure that you've blended it in really well and not painted it onto your blending board or into your drum carder, that you open it up. Next time I've got some mulberry silk in, I haven't had any in for a while, unless it's been already blended in a fibre. But once I will make a point of doing a blending video to show you how I would blend in the silk from mulberry silk into my art bats, so that you're not pulling out massive clumps in one go. There we go. I mean, we've all got our own way of doing things, but I don't like spinning fibre when it comes out in massive sections of the one thing. I like it to have a smooth distribution across the actual art bat when I'm spinning with it, so that I'm not ending up with bits of yarn that are like no wool in it, just lots of silk. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? So you've got, that's the one in just the turquoise and blue colours from the exact same wool, and then you've got this one with the electric purple and the neon pink in there. It just gives it a completely different look. It's so pretty. So not up my street, they're not my colours, but I quite like them. I do like coastal colours, but not so much mermaid. Now look at that. This wool is from a proper mill. We all know who it is, World of Wool. And there is some grass in the roving. Happens to everybody. It's not going to kill you. It's a bit of grass. I know people that have actually sent wool back to them because it's had grass in it. You're like, oh, there's only so much they can clean these things. It's not going to kill you. Right, drag that down. I think I'm only going to get 2 out of this, so I'm glad I've got some wool left over. Because if I leave that where that is now, I'm going to end up with a really thin bit that's not going to want to turn at all. So I'd rather end up with a slightly chunkier roll lag. There we go. Drag those fibres down. And then I'm going to, in a second, unclip the top bits and I get up there. So that wafty bit here that comes off the top end, inspiring. Oh, thank you very much. So I'm literally drag that all the way down the board, and all this fluffy bit that's been left, as I turn it, I drag it down so that I can help diffuse that fluffy section, the scruffy bit at the top of your board, and make sure it's as opposed to a point carded all the way through. So you get an equal distribution of fibre, but none of it is actually flumping up. Is probably the best explanation. So there you go. And there's no flumpy bits on like you would get normally on the last roll lag that you take off your blending board. There you go. There's another one, a little bit thicker than the other one, but that doesn't matter. There we go. So I think I'm going to do one more, then I end up 6. Can you believe it? 6 from 25 grams of wool. Right. And then they all fall down. Like flaming Humpty Dumpty. Right, I'll do that for that. Now I've got some of the silk left over, and I'm just going to pull it all the way down. I'm not patting it down because it's such a slippery fibre. I'm quite happy for it to drag itself evenly across the board so that the fibres just slip out as they come along, if you're wondering why I'm not patting as I go. Alright, so I'm just going to open up this green one. I need to make sure that I've got enough of this wool left at the end from my very last layer, just to trap all those silk fibres into place. And a little bit here, that'll do. I've got some bits down here, and then I've got the last of this silk to put in. And a little bit here. There's not a lot left, but that's all right. That silk has managed to get me through 2 25-gram blendings, so it made up 6 in days 4 and 5, and it's helped me make another 6, maybe potentially 7 in a minute from day 6's 25-gram parcel. I'm just going to put that on top there, trap these fibres in place. I'm just going to quickly blend through these. There we go. Last little bits. Brush that through. Put more dowel there. Twist that around. Make sure I've got a good grip. Lift that up ever so slightly and start to draft down through the tines so you can just make out where the tines are. When you get so far up the board, you just want to make sure you can feel them catching so that you're actually drafting the fibres out from your board. And I'm just going to make, I think I'm just going to make one big roll lag in this one, because I think you'll be lucky if there's 12 grams of fibre on this now. What's that? Don't know what that is. It's fluff, just don't know where it's come from. There we go, nearly done. I'm just going to lift up that fluffy bit and drag it down my board. Roll all the way up. And there we go. And I'm not putting any pressure on there, I'm just tidying up the fluff on the roll lag so it all sits and ties in together and doesn't fall apart. Oh. So we've got one, roll lag, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, crikey, Joe, butterfingers. 6. 6 roll lags from 25 grams of llyen wool, which is a Welsh breed. Roughly, mine could count roughly about 31 to 34, mixed in with a hand-dyed tussah silk. So I will get these all spun off, so the next time I come on, I'll show you what I've managed to do out of it. And I'm not doing it on a Turkish spindle again, no flaming danger. After yesterday's escapades, I did it on my Turkish spindle with 30 grams, and it glitters. A glittery one, look at that. Very pretty, thank you, Mary. Well, I think it just inspires you to realise that when you get your Christmas advents, you don't always have to stick with what's in there. If you've got a Christmas advent for somebody and it's just all braids, but a mixture of fibres and braids that they've dyed or done as samples, blend them up together. And as I showed you yesterday, doing little faux lags is a really good way. It's not going to have the perfect form of a blended roll lag, but you can make them and just layer your fibres really finely together. Use your chunky knitting needles, or if you haven't got any chunky ones, you've only got, say, size 8 or 9 thickness wise, like the long knitting needles, use 3 of them like what I did. Use the 1 and then 2 lay on the top of it, and then blend them up together, and then just draft as you're rolling up your fibres to make a faux lag. But this is what I made yesterday, and that was with tussah silk, which is roughly, in this would be about 45 to 50%. And then there's a mulberry silk in there, it's about 10%. And the rest of it is merino and a dash of Angelina. So I brought that bat up from being quite dull, dusky sort of tones into this gorgeous satin-looking roll lag. And I spun it on my Turkish spindle, went over and sat with my father-in-law yesterday while Phil took his mum into town to go and get some shopping. And I kid you not, all I did was spin up 2 roll lags out of that lot, and it took me 3 hours to spin them and ply them. 3 hours! I'm like, do you know what? I wish I'd just brought my electric wheel. I'd have it done in 10 minutes. So that is yesterday's blended. Look, a little tiny bit of baby blue in there. Yeah, and it feels gorgeous. So that's what inspired me to save this, knowing what was coming today. And then I can spin it up. But I think with those purples and those greens look gorgeous together. So I've just done a cheat. I've just done a cheat to look through. Mindfulness, Joe, not speed. Yeah. I ain't got time to be mindful. The only time I'm mindful is when there's a glass of gin in my hand, Bridie. Oh yeah, it's the only time that you'll find me being mindful, watching TV with a glass of gin in my hand. So there you go. Oh, I never even thought to count how much is in here, yardage wise. So it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. 40 yards. It sounds like you've had one now with that giggle. No. No, I've got too much to do. I've got my Christmas cake I've got to make this afternoon. And I've got some bits and pieces I need to get wrapped up for a secret squirrel Christmas present, so I need to get them sorted out. So no, I've got a really busy day. Gin o'clock doesn't come till at least 4:30, 5 o'clock, and I'll be back up here by that point. Phil's at work, so I've told him to stick on half a bucket of coal on the fire, so that when I come down to do get my Christmas cake done. That's not what I'm looking for. when I come down to get my Christmas cake done, at least the living room's warm for me, because it is Baltic. It's Baltic here. We've got rain coming, and that's my usual giggle anyway. That's my usual cackle. I've always had a cackle, mate. We've got rain coming for the next 3 days, but it's ice rain and -2, which doesn't sound like much compared to what Americans and Canadians get. That is Spawn at a Sportway. Very, very pleased with myself. So yeah, half a bucket of coal just to take the chill off downstairs. Get my rum infused Christmas cake with my rum infused Christmas cake baked up and in the oven, sorted out and in the oven. And what else have I got to do? Oh, I'm experimenting. I'm gonna usually at Christmas I gift my mother-in-law and father-in-law and our friends up the top of the street, Martin and Julie, with Christmas chutneys. I make chutneys like nobody's business, chutneys and relishes and all sorts for Christmas. But obviously, with everything that's gone on, with Phil not having a wage coming in, just not be able to do it this year in preparation. So I'm making sweeties instead. So I'm making sweets, and all Phil's favourite sweets as well, like traditional Scottish rum truffles and normal rum truffles that you buy. But I'm not doing, I've got rum ones, and I've got in the cupboard downstairs for doing my tiramisu some amaretto, real Italian amaretto as well. It's been in the cupboard for ages, and I've been secretly giving one for me, one for the kitchen. One for me, one for the kitchen. But I only use a proper tiramisu with it has to be alcohol based on Madeira if I'm doing it. But that's my New Year's Day pudding, you see. You like a nice chutney. You did the River Cottage recipe with figs and port. Ooh, I do my Christmas cake. I've got this little book. It cost me 99 pence when I was 18 years old, and it's traditional Scottish recipes. And I do a souped up version of a cross between a Dundee cake and a Christmas cake. So I don't want it really heavy and rich, but I still use black treacle and golden syrup in it. And I've got my cherries and my mixed fruit. My mixed fruit is actually at the moment, instead of brandy, it's soaking in Jamaican dark rum, because it can. And I've got traditional Cumbrian rum butter to make for my mother-in-law, so I've got to make that up. So I needed dark rum for it, so yeah, I've got those to do. What else was I going to make? Nougat, real nougat with rice paper, which they don't call it rice paper anymore. They call it ooh, stop it, sounds delicious. My fruit's all soaking. It's been soaking in dark rum since yesterday, so the rum that's been left in the jar with the fruit goes straight into my cake. And then I've got to spike it for the next 2.5 weeks. Brilliant. And marzipan in it. Yeah, so I'm making our friends up the street and Phil's mum and dad a little selection of homemade sweeties and biscuits, shortbread biscuits and things like that. So yeah. And do you know what? Traditional Scottish truffles are so easy to do. You don't have to bake them. It's melted chocolate and carnation cream and crushed up digestive biscuits, all put in together, and then you dunk them in chocolate, and then you cover them in hundreds and thousands in chocolates. So that's such a quick thing to do. And you can stick them in the freezer as well, even better. So I can make them this week, stick them in the freezer and take them out a couple of days before Christmas. Perfect. So yeah, that's it. So rollags, I've got loads of them now to do. Tomorrow is pink, sky blue and yellow. That'll be pretty. And I'm not telling you what's inside it. But I'll probably do them as blending board. I think I might do a fairy at the weekend. But if I haven't got an advent up on Saturdays, because I've got my live chat over my Instagram. But I will do that on Sunday, and I might actually pop on for a live chat if anybody fancies that on Sunday afternoon about 12:30. Because Phil will be at work anyway, so I might as well come up here and play in the room and do something. Well, I think I might do needle felting on Sunday's one, and I've already got the dates down for that. Sunday's one and Saturday's ones. Yeah, it might be on the cards. Brandy cherries for Kevin, dark chocolate with cocoa powder dusting. Yeah, I love cherry liqueurs. Really, really nice. Was it Moncherie? The little chocolate balls with the cherry liqueur and a morello cherry on the inside. I've got Glacier cherries downstairs, but I have to use them really quickly because if Phil knows that they're there, he will eat them all. So they never really make it to a cake. So yeah, that's what I've got planned. Bits and pieces, Christmas wrapping to do. Yeah, a couple of little pieces that I've flung together. And that's about it for me. I need to really get my knitting done. I'm dyeing my yarn. You'll join me when you've 2 needle felted snowmen to finish. Perfect. Yeah, I think so. I think because I can't get on, I won't be able to get, I'll be too knackered on Saturday to do my live chat and do a video. It's just pushing for time. So I think Sunday I will do day 9 and day 10's advents as a live chat, and we'll see what we can come up with. I might actually get my felting stuff out and make a little fairy, because I think, yeah, no, don't give it away, Joe. Don't give it away. But tomorrow's advent is, we're on Thursday, pink, sky blue and yellow. Very pretty. So I think I'll love yous and leave yous now and let yous get on with the rest of your day. Thank you ever so much for joining me today for my little live chat and my demo of blending boards. I'm dead pleased with how these have come out. Really pleased. I'll make a point of trying to get, I'll get my electric wheel out later on when I come up here, and get these spun up this evening while watching TV. Me and the girls are in this room keeping cozy and warm. And I'll spin up and I'll show them off on Saturday on my Instagram live chat. So while I'm here, before I forget, every Sunday for the next 3 Sundays, there's a 20% discount code off, and it will be active from 10 in the morning until 7 in the evening UK time. And it's 20% off your total order, which is a heck of a lot. So take advantage of that. I will release the Advent discount code on Sunday morning on my first post before 10 o'clock, so you know which one it is. Anyway, take care of yourselves, be good, be careful. If you can't be careful, well, there's no snowmen to blame, they're not here yet. Take care. Oh God, my glasses nearly went. Bye.